Hey guys, welcome back. I wanted to show you my first gen Lightning. These trucks were made from 93 to 95 and they are a lot more than just an F-150. So I'm going to show you this truck and talk to you a little bit about it and show you really what's different, because as you can see it looks like an F-150 but it really doesn't. So let's go over some things and what makes these trucks very unique, very special, and right now they're currently becoming a very hot collector's item. So I'll show you this one, show you what I've done to it to make it my own, and kind of just go from there. So the first thing you notice on these trucks is the color keyed front end. So the front of this truck, aside from the hood, the emblem and the turn signals, is original. So these trucks came with a color keyed front end, so they called it a monochromatic package, and also came with the lower spoiler and fog lights. So this is all factory. We changed the turn signals to clear way back whenever I bought this truck, and I took the Ford emblem apart and painted this by hand. So that is not a bought item, that's something that I did myself. We've also added the Cervini's cowl hood, and that's something I try to do to most of my trucks. So we'll walk it along here. The black windshield trim was also factory on these trucks, along with the black mirrors, black door handles, and a black lock. Mine's been faded out over the years from polishing and polishing and polishing, because the 93 trucks are actually single stage enamel. So something else that's going to be a factory on these trucks are the 17-inch wheels, and then your Lightning graphic on the side here, which is both on both bedsides. You can see how the bolt actually reflects the light. I do believe they call that a prismatic. So that's something that is unique and very hard to find. Coming to the inside here, like I said, this is a 93, so it's got the dark interior, and they came factory with these seats, and then also a perforated leather steering wheel, the 120-mile-an-hour speedometer along with yellow needles, and then your factory fog light switch over here. As far as the inside of the truck goes, that's pretty much all they changed inside. These trucks also came with dual tanks factory. And then this truck had a painted rear bumper. However, we removed that in lieu of the Cervini's roll pan. So the only thing that this truck's not going to have that a 93 has is it has the SVT decal over here instead of the Lightning graphic. So this truck should have the Lightning graphic on the back, but it does not. When I bought it, it was not there, so they had removed it. Something else about these trucks, and I'll have to get the hood open for you. So we have a prop rod here. We don't have the hood struts on this Cervini's hood. However, this is your factory intake on these. It is a GT40 style upper and lower, along with GT40 style heads. And then if you look down in there, you can kind of see that there's factory headers on these trucks. So while those are visual that you can see on the outside, they did add a performance boost to this truck. They consider this a 351 high output engine, and they do have a hyperetic piston and a different cam, and I'm not sure what else was different. I do believe it dealt with the timing chain being a double roller instead of a single roller. I don't know the internal workings of these engines that well. I do know that they were a specific engine setup for these trucks though. Something that's very interesting on the 93s. So there's a date stamp there on that fender, and a date stamp there on that fender. And I actually have those date stamps on the doors as well, which I thought to be really interesting. So you can see there, paint OK, May 3rd of 1993. So that is something I thought was really cool on this truck, that it still has those date stamps that were put onto it from the factory. So you can't see under here real well. You can kind of see that the traction bars are here and we got a slapper bar there, but we're going to go ahead and move this truck over on the lift for you so that you can really get a good underside shot of this. So we moved the truck over here on the lift for you so you could see. Now, I was talking about the paint before. See the gray? So that's all just from wear and tear. You know, the enamel is just wearing off of this. So the underside of these trucks, so here's your finned 8.8 differential, and this is Lightning specific because it has all these cooling fins. And then also you have a heavier sway bar back here, and then you also have the slapper traction bars, and then along with the traction bars that I added. So along with this you get the aluminum drive shaft. You can kind of see the exhaust that's on this truck also. So something else is with the 93s, so you have this rubber boot up here. So the cruise control recall, which this truck has not had done, I'm going to do that today. That's why we're up on the lift here. But that's where your cruise control is on a 92 or a 93 truck. It's not up on the master cylinder like a 94 and up. So if you want to do your cruise control recall, if you have the harness, it goes under this boot here. So you take this off, slide it back, and the plug is right there. So up front here, you know, typical two-wheel drive F-150 suspension. It is lowered with the coils, and you're just your typical radius arm suspension. Nothing crazy up here in the front. However, if you get up to the front here, you have your sway bar, which is also larger for the Lightning setup. But just your typical F-150 up here. So the underside of this truck isn't super clean. It's been a Pennsylvania truck. It's most of its life. It's seen, I think, maybe one winter. But other than that, doesn't look bad. It's never seen winter with me. So it's still pretty clean. And another thing with these trucks is they had the 351 high output, and you can see the headers up there a little bit better. So it does factory headers, but they came with an E4OD in them all the way up into 95. So you get the better transmission rather than the 4R70W or an AOD or an AODE. But yeah, this is the underside of a Lightning. The frame is also different on these trucks. I'm going to try and see if I can get to where you can kind of see. So let me get better light here. You can kind of see there's a frame splice right there, right here. So that's not a splice. That's a factory reinforcement. That is for Lightnings only. So that is a Lightning only reinforcement. Like I said, it's kind of hard to see up here, but you can see it goes over the axle there. So that's factory, and only the Lightnings got that. And these do have a slightly thicker frame than an F-150. A lot of guys have said that this is an F-250 frame under an F-150 body, so to speak. But you still run everything F-150. So we'll get you a running shot of this thing also here once we get it back down off the lift. And we'll get that in here as well. So I'm going to go ahead and I got to drop these tanks and change the senders out because one is pumping to the front. So the rear is pumping to the front. So the rear sender's bad, and then the front is not showing me a fuel level. So we're going to pop that down and change that sender to fix that problem. So. And these trucks were also lowered 2 inches in the rear and 1 inch in the front, and that is a factory suspension setup on this truck. So that was also part of the appearance of these Lightnings. Something else I'm pretty proud about with this truck, and we do have a Gaylord's tonneau cover on this, which has been on here for quite some time, is the bed. This is all original paint inside this bed. And I love the fact that this bed is 30-year-old paint and it still looks this great. So this is part of the joy of owning this particular truck, is the bed looks fantastic. And the tonneau cover helps keep it looking good. So we ran the Gen 2 style exhaust on this. This doesn't have anything fancy. This is a custom made setup that I had made 20 years ago and put on this truck. So the truck's been virtually unchanged for a long time. It actually doesn't come out very often. Yesterday was the first time it's been out in quite a while, so it was nice to have it out. And something else too that these trucks got was this black antenna. So usually you would only see the black accents, so like the windshield trim, the antenna, the door handles. Those were associated with the Knights. And then you started to see the black windshield trim show up on the Broncos, I do believe in 94 or 95. So those are kind of like hard to find items. They're kind of unusual to see. So that was also something that these trucks received that none of the other trucks really did at this time. But these Lightning trucks, these are first gens. So they ran the first gen, 93, 94, 95. In 1993, you could only get red or black. 94 introduced white into the mix. And in 94, they started changing up the colors. So this is a single stage enamel, whereas in 94, they went to base coat, clear coat. So 93 trucks usually had fading problems or places where the paint was really, really thin. And I'm trying to see if I can find a place for you to where it's thinned out on me. But there's a couple spots on here where the paint's gone just from wear and tear and age. And just, I mean, the truck has 102,000 miles on it, and I think it looks pretty good for 102,000. But something else, your 92, 93 trucks only have a cargo light, whereas your 94 and up trucks would have a third brake light. As you can see, that hole is much shorter, but much, much wider. And also, the 93 trucks for a Lightning got a black cargo light instead of a chrome trimmed cargo light. So that's something that's also 1 year only for this truck. So something else we're going to do here is the 92, 93 trucks had the graphic here on the window that's a little bit hard to see. Together we can save lives. And then also 92, 93 have the door ajar switch down here in the corner of the B-pillar. Something else, this is where your new door ajar switch would be on a 94 and up truck, which is not there on a 92, 93. We have the stereo upgrade in this truck. We have a Pioneer Premier in here, and then the elbow smasher amp on here as well. So nothing crazy for this truck. It's been through a lot with me. This truck was originally supercharged when I bought it. I ended up taking it all off because the guy that put it all on had messed with it, and it was causing some serious issues with this truck. So we removed all of that in the mass air and basically returned it back to stock with the exhaust and the intake being pretty much the only things that we've changed. Didn't do a whole lot with this truck, but we can go ahead and fire it up for you and let you get a good feel of how this thing sounds. So these trucks had their own unique sound to them. I don't know if it was the engine specifications or if it was the headers or what they did to them, but they have their own unique sound, and it's awesome. But these things were basically a Mustang and a truck body. And these things are very, very fun. Like I said, the suspension was lowered, and they added the sway. They added larger sway bars front and rear. So truly a performance truck that has stood the test of time. You know, so if you guys are looking for a Gen 1 truck and you want something fun, these things are great. So thanks for watching my video. Hopefully you enjoyed it, and we'll catch you on the next one.